Welcome to the Bucs betting show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 8 over-unders to bet. Let's get this money. Week 8 totals. First game, we're going to Los Angeles. We got my Minnesota Vikings at the Los Angeles Rams. Over, under 48. I'm going under. I think this is a bounce-back performance from the Vikings defense. We got to give credit to Goff and the Detroit offense. They were absolutely brilliant against the Vikings. But when I look at this game, when I look at this matchup, I see this Rams offensive line, and I think the Vikings get pressure on Matt Stafford. And that's the key when you play against Matt Stafford. You have to hit him early and often. On the other side, this does look like a good matchup for the Vikings offense. But this Rams defense, we know they'll throw different schemes at you. And I'm also looking for a little bit of a Sam Darnold drop-off. I felt like he was excellent against the Lions. I do think this is your normal Thursday night game. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slower pace. I think we're going to see both teams try to run the ball. And let's also remember, a big reason why the Vikings defense struggled is because the Lions were run first. The Rams have to do this to have a chance to win. I think both teams run it a lot. I'm going under the 48. Next game, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Over, under 46. Money. I'm going under. I was worried about Anthony Richardson against the Dolphins. I felt like he played poorly, and I do think this Dolphins defense is underrated. But even with that being said, there wasn't a lot of excuses. And when you look at that Packers-Texans game, did the Texans cover the spread because of Stroud, the offense? Absolutely not. I feel like this Texans defense is getting better by the minute. When you got Danielle Hunter, when you got Will Anderson, even against a good Colts offensive line, I think they'll hit Anthony Richardson, and I think they'll be able to contain them. I am worried about this Houston offense. They did get the run game going against the Packers, and credit to them, credit to Joe Mixon. He's playing at a very high level. But I was worried about the communication of this offensive line. The Packers just kept sending blitz after blitz, and the offensive line never really made an adjustment. I'm going under the 46. Make it a damn money pick. Division matchup. I think it's going to be tighter than their matchups last year. Next game, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Lions. Over, under 45.5. I'm going over. There isn't a lot of science here. I think Detroit gets to the 30s. Maybe the Titans are able to scrap 17 points. I see like a 30-17 game, a 33-14 game. And this just comes down to the motivational level of the Lions. And are we going to get Will Levis back? Either way, that might point it to under. I didn't think Mason Rudolph was as bad as the stat line showed. But one thing about the Titans, man, they can't block anyone. And Detroit still was able to get pressure against the Vikings. I'm going over the 45.5. Absolutely no science on this one. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. Over, under 44.5. I'm going under. I think this Browns defense will put on a show. Now, do I think they're going to stuff Lamar Jackson and this high-powered Ravens offense? No. On the other side, you worry about the Browns offense. Famous Jameis Winston is back in the fold. I think that'll help. I think it'll make a difference. But one thing I liked from the Ravens defense was their ability to create turnovers against the Buccaneers. What's one thing Jameis Winston does? He'll throw you a few. Like I said, I think we'll see a better Browns offense. We'll see a more invigorated Browns offense. But I'm going under. I think this Ravens defense finally has some confidence under the 44.5. Next game, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jags. Over, under 49.5. Money, money, money. Money borderline. I'm going over. And last week against the Texans, Jordan Love had a slow game, let's be honest. But when the game was on the line, he was able to make plays. What do the Packers like to do on offense? They like to throw it deep. They like to attack you down the field. What's the biggest weakness of the Jacksonville Jags? Their secondary, especially their safety play. I think we see a lot of Packers chunk plays, and I'm not sure this Jaguars pass rush can really make a difference with how good this Packers offensive line is playing. On the other side, Packers defense was phenomenal last week, but at least we saw a little bit of confidence and verve from Trevor Lawrence, and it's important not to get too emotional. I get it. No one wants to bet the Jags. No one wants to risk their weekend on the Jags. I completely understand it. But I do think this Jags offense is trending up. They got the run game going. Tank Bigsby getting going. Adding that play action, power run game option will really help Lawrence. I think this could turn into a shootout. I'm going over the 49.5 borderline money pick. Next game, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Miami Dolphins. Over, under 45.5. I'm going under. Now, Tua is back in the fold, and Tyreek Hill said today he's ready to go. The season starts now. I do think Tua will provide a boost, but I also think the Dolphins are going to be rather simplistic. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think we see like a 45% run-pass ratio. And I know the Cardinals did a very good job stopping the run against the Chargers, but none of those Chargers wide receivers could catch. So when Will Dissly's your best offensive weapon, you can focus on the run game, and that's what the Cardinals did. Credit to them for what they did against the Chargers. But when I'm looking at this game, the big reason it's going to go under is I'm just not sold on Kyler Murray. I'm not sold with what he's doing in the pocket. And to make a long argument, a short argument, look at his symbiosis with Marvin Harrison. McBride's starting to play better, but Wilson and Harrison just seem like non-functioning entities, and that's one thing that has been puzzling me the whole year. I also think this Dolphins defense is underrated. I've been saying it the whole year. I'm going under the 45.5. Next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Bucs. Over, under 46. I'm going over, but there's no science. Like, no Godwin, no Mike Evans. I'm not as low on Baker after that performance, but it was bad against the Ravens. But one thing I notice when I watch Atlanta games, I notice the lack of pass rush. I think Baker Mayfield will have plenty of time. Who's going to play wide receiver? We're hearing Cooper Kupp might go there. He's not going to be there on Sunday. So you look at the Bucs, they don't have a lot to throw to, but I love their run game, and I think you can pound Atlanta. On the other side, one of the big surprises about the Bucs this year, this defense is a rock. And when you went into the season, we always kind of thought like this Bucs defense would be in that 8 to 12 range. Bowles always has his guys ready to go. But man, I think the Falcons are able to run it. Like, let's not forget, they did completely blow that game against the Hawks. The game flow was all against them, but they still got damn near 200 yards rushing, and I think that's one thing they do well this game. They need to get more of Kirk on the play action. I'm going over the 46. Next game, we got the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Over, under 41. I'm going over. But it's like, how do you bet Jets games? They're so inconsistent. The defense is so banged up, especially in the secondary. I do think the Patriots can get to 17 here, but I have seen some strides out of the Jets offense. I did see a lot of big plays. the last two games against Buffalo and Pittsburgh. But also when you look at this Jets offense, they're going to turn over the ball. We just know they're going to put slop out on the field. What do turnovers lead to? They lead to points. I do think the Jets have a good game here, though. I think they get to the 24-27 mark, and the Patriots are just enough of a dance partner to get the 13-16 to push this over. Next game, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Los Angeles Chargers, over under 40.5. Money. Absolutely love this under. I know the Saints defense is reeling. I know they're injured. I know they're banged up. And I know Herbert's playing at a high level. I was actually really impressed with Herbert on Monday night when they played in Zona, but he just doesn't have any help on the outside. On the other side of the ball, we have a Chargers defense that's playing very, very good. They're physical, they're fast, and their secondary sits back in zone and attacks you. And we're looking at Rattler, who just can't seem to get anything going. And another thing, can the Saints offensive line block at all? Those first 2 weeks were such a huge admiration. So I just don't think Rattler's going to get a lot of help. Shaheed's still going to miss this game. I believe Shaheed's out for the year. So you just wonder, like, when you're signing Valdez-Scantling, that just shows the desperation for the New Orleans Saints. I'm going under the 40.5. Making a damn money pick. This is the best under of the week, by the way. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills. Allen at the Seattle Seahawks. Over, under 47. I'm going over, but there isn't a lot of science because the Seahawks defense, I know they're getting Reek Willen back this week, but I still feel like the secondary is pretty bad. And one thing we know that's bad is the Seahawks front seven. I think the Bills will get the run game going. The reason why this isn't a money pick is because both of these offenses, they've showed signs of being flashy, of being explosive, but neither have put it together. And Geno has been puzzling because we saw him play very good against the Falcons, and he faced a lot of pressure. But the big reason why this over isn't 40, why I'm not making it a money pick, is because I worry about the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. One thing the Bills do well, even with Von Miller out, is Rousseau comes at you in waves, and I'm not sure anyone can block them. So I'm going over the 47, not a lot of science, and also we just don't know what we're going to get from Josh Allen. How is he going to gel with Amari Cooper, and how many points is it going to lead to? It really seems like the strength of this Bills team is their defense, and I did not see that going into the game. Next game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Cincinnati Bengals. Over, under 48. I'm going over. I feel like the Eagles offense is hitting stride. And I get it. The Bengals defense has played better the last two games. But let's look at the two quarterbacks the Bengals defense has played. They played Daniel Jones. They played Deshaun Watson. I don't know if we can say, this Bengals defense figured it out. But one offensive unit that has figured it out is the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, that's one thing I saw on Pro Football Talk. It made me mad. It's Mike Florio was saying, the Eagles offense didn't play anyone. They're going to have to play better teams. Well, didn't everyone have the Giants beating them? I felt like that was impressive, and the Eagles got back to what they do well on offense. On the other side, the weakness of this Eagles team is their safety position and secondary. One guy who can exploit that secondary is Joe Burrow. I think we're going to see a lot of deep passing, and this game has potential to turn into a shootout. I'm going over the 48. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears, Bears, at the Washington No Names. Over, under 43.5. I actually have this finishing 23-20. I'm going under. Now, we're assuming Daniels isn't going to play, right? We're assuming we're going to get Marcus to Magic Man Mariota. But also, I have to say, like, I know it was against the Panthers, but am I the only one who's noticing this Commanders defense is starting to vibe a little bit? And we know they lost Jonathan Allen last week, which is obviously a huge loss. But I feel like this Commanders defense is trending in the right direction. And now the Bears finally have to play a good team. And I wonder how Caleb Williams is going to respond. And the big part of this game is the run game. I think we're going to see both teams running the ball a lot. That's one reason why the last 2 weeks, when the Bears played the Panthers, when the Bears played the Jags, they were able to get the run game going. That's why the offense opened up. I'm not sure the Bears get it going this week. I'm going under the 43.5. Next game, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Denver Broncos. Over under 43.5. Money. You say Bryce Young, I say under. Now I get it. This Panthers defense is still banged up. Remember on the Tuesday video, I said, well, it looks like the Panthers could get back 3 or 4 starters on defense. So far, it only looks like Josie Jewell's coming back. And I don't know if that's enough to deal with this Broncos offense. But a big factor in this game is Bryce Young. Whenever Bryce Young steps on a football field, it is a sad event. It is the definition of a fish out of water. And we saw that car accident from Andy Dalton. I think he sprained his thumb. I really felt like we would see Andy Dalton out here. But a big part of this game also is this Broncos defense. You got Surtain against Thompson, and I'm wondering who's going to create space, who's going to create separation. Thielen's not going to be back, and I just don't trust any of these Carolina targets. And the big part of Carolina's offense is running the ball with Hubbard. But when you have Bryce Young, he's scared to throw it over 4 or 5 yards. So I just feel like this Broncos defensive safety is going to keep creeping up, and they're going to suffocate this Panthers offense. I'm just not seeing the Panthers getting over 10 points. Like, I see like a 27-10 game. I'm going under, make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. Over under 46.5. I'm going over. Like, both of these defenses have underwhelmed this year. The Cowboys, look at how many players they have out in the front 7. It doesn't look like Micah Parsons going to play this game. So obviously that's an issue. And you got to think the 49ers run offense is going to have a bounce back game, because there's no one on the Cowboys who's like Chris Jones who can clog up the middle and stuff 2 gaps. But I'm going to go over, man, because I think Dak Prescott responds. I think this is a good matchup for the Cowboys, a good spot for the Cowboys. I know it's sounding a little bit crazy. This Cowboys offense hasn't been able to get out of its own way, but I feel like you can throw it against the 49ers defense. The 49ers defense played their best ball of the year against the Chiefs. I just don't see that continuing. I'm going over the 46.5. Not a lot of science here. I just think this game could explode. It is an Alamo game for both teams. Like, if the 49ers lose, if the Cowboys lose, man, both are in serious jeopardy if they lose. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over under 36.5. I'm going under. Man, I was underwhelmed by the Giants' run defense. But isn't it fitting that Saquon Barkley absolutely went off and completely ripped the Giants' run defense a new one? But a big problem, and why that defense struggled, is because Daniel Jones and the 3 and outs. Are we going to get Locke? I don't know. I really don't. Daniel Jones should have been benched by now. And Locke came in and played in the fourth quarter against the Eagles and didn't look much better. But at a certain point, you have to give him the keys to this truck, whatever it is. Maybe it's like a old Fiat with how just lack of firepower this Giants offense possesses. And we know the Steelers defense is really good. And I told you guys going into the Giants-Eagles, Andrew Thomas was the Giants' best offensive lineman. With him out, you see the pass protection really just stuttering. And you got Watt and Hayward coming at you in waves. But another reason why I like the under is because I think the Giants' defense has a bounce-back performance. I'm not sold on the Russell Wilson stuff. I know some of you guys are, and that's fine, but I'm not sold. I'm going under the 36.5. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Slam that like button. Live call-in show Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Let's get this money.